Hi there. Welcome to episode 7 of the Motor Trade Talk podcast with me, Nick McDonald. No Steve Corwood today. He's finally had an episode off and left me to do it on my own. And today our guest is Richard Piggott, or Richie, as I've always known him as, a digital marketer at First Response Finance. How are you, Rich?
I'm very well, thank you, Nick. You good self?
Yeah, really good. Thanks for coming on today. What we're going to talk about today, Rich?
Well, we're going to talk about marketing. We're going to talk about a few simple tips that dealers or any small business can do to try and engage more customers and use social media as a platform to help them sell more cars, vans, motorbikes, or anything else. And also, a little bit of perspective on how you can sell more cars or vehicles on finance, especially in the non-prime market as well. So.
Really
Quite a few things
important.
to cover.
We've done a few marketing episodes, but I think Rich is going to see this from a unique perspective where he gets a lot of data from a lot of different independent dealers. They bang in the space that we appeal to. So should be some real nuggets in this. Right, we're just going to go to the intro and we'll be back in just a second. Okay, Rich. So me and you've known each other for many, many years, but not seen each other for a while. I used to work obviously with you at First Response. We worked quite closely together, didn't we? And your ambitions back then, many years ago, were always to get into marketing, and you're finally there. Tell me about your journey, finally getting into marketing.
Well, it all started a long time ago, as you hinted at. Essentially, my job previously was to speak with car dealers on the phone, visit them in person. Quite a few I visited with yourself many years ago. Building relationships with dealers and understanding their business in a reciprocal way, really. We assist them in how they can grow their business, sell more cars, vans, or motorbikes, sell more on finance. And in return, we get some business back as a result of that. So, yeah, must have spoken to 7,000, 8,000, 10,000 phone calls and hundreds of visits to dealers' forecourts. So, yeah, there's quite a bit in the old brain that that I've learned over the years, and from yourself and from all the dealers that we spoke to too. So, as soon as I came into marketing, I started doing a bit of a sort of check where we are with the dealers that we work with. In terms of, I went through and looked at every single dealer we worked with, social media platforms. It's quite interesting to see what some people do differently, some of the ways that people succeed, and then some of the other ways where dealers have sort of attempted social media because it's the new thing, or they think they should be on it, and that it's clearly not worked. So, yeah, I learned quite a bit over the years and my journey through talking to dealers, understanding them, and then trying to assist them with marketing in my current role as well. So yeah, quite a lot over the time.
I think most people will already know, but do you want to tell everyone kind of who First Response are, just for anyone who doesn't know, and kind of where you fit? Not a sales pitch, but just so people kind of know why you're doing this and why it works in this space.
Yeah, so First Response, we've been around for over 20 years. We operate mainly in the non-prime market, so in the subprime market, and occasionally near prime, but subprime is our bread and butter. Basically, like, we finance cars, vans, motorbikes, and we've won quite a few awards for our service. We're quite well known in the industry for the amount of service we do, how we treat customers. We've also won quite a few awards, voted, not ones that you buy, but ones that our customers have voted for and dealers have voted for. So, the reason I've come on today is because we want to try and, we always try and assist our dealers. We want to help their business be better, because if their business is good, then so is ours. And that's the main difference, really. We're there to try and assist dealers grow their business, not just turn up with a tray of donuts, or just ring and do a sales pitch on the call. We do really care about how our dealers are performing.
That's good. So tell me a little bit about some of the projects you're working on at the moment with marketing with the small dealers.
Well, we've done quite a few actually over the last year. One of the ones that we're doing at the moment is referring a friend. So if a dealership refers a friend and they get set up with us, we send them quite a few. We send them quite an expensive luxury hamper through the post. That's one thing that we've done. When it was December, when it was Christmas, we sent quite a few of our dealers. There might be quite a few watching this that can attest to it. We sent them some Christmas goodie bags as well, and asked them to repost and share those on their LinkedIn company pages and profiles. I think that was one of our, one of the the better results that we've got before. So we just really try and engage with the dealers that we work with. And some of the tips we're going to go through is if we didn't do them ourselves, it'd be a bit hypocritical. So last year we did a Ready Set Go campaign where we sent a huge box out to lots of dealers that had first response branded t-shirts, hats and sunglasses and and a water bottle and other things. So we got really good response from that as well. So yeah, there's things that we do on the digital side of things that are just online and traditional as well. So like point of sale or hampers and the Ready Set Go stuff. But we also try and kind of merge the two together as well. We do the traditional marketing in line with the digital aspect of things because both should really work together.
So what kind of trends do you see across the different dealers you work with when it comes to social media and what's effective?
Essentially, it's a case of things that are effective, I think is probably the most important points, is we do see a lot of dealers that try and use social media just to post pictures of cars. They just use it as an advert, and it doesn't work. The dealers that are the most successful are the ones that try and engage with their customers because that's what customers want to be. They want to be engaged with by what they're buying from. We can't get away from the fact that a customer wants what a customer wants, and you've got to try and sort of connect with that. But there's an old analogy that I always use. If your social media profiles are just adverts for cars, there's a lot that I've seen, especially on social media, where dealers will use like an auto repost function from eBay Motors or Auto Trader or anywhere else, and it's just links to cars, and they don't do anything. It's just adverts. And the old analogy that I use is it might be a little bit outdated now, but a lot of people have Sky Plus. So when a lot of dealers are out, at the auctions late at night, they might Sky Plus and record their favorite programs. Well, when they come to watch those programs, do they watch the adverts or do they skip through them to the next bit of the program they're watching?
Yeah,
you skip through the adverts, and if your social media profiles are literally just adverts, people are going to skip them as well. And that's one of the huge takeaways that I've seen.
So what you're saying is that the actual content is Coronation Street, and the adverts are the shit in between. Yeah, the car posts and shit in between. I like it.
Yeah. So yeah, you skip the adverts, or you leave them on because you're going to make a cup of tea, or you skip it and you pause it. And if your social media profiles are literally just full of adverts, people aren't going to pay any attention, and they're just going to skip it because they know you're just trying to sell them something.
So how do dealers make the Coronation Street? How do they make it something that people want to keep tuning into?
Well, as I said, it's consumer behaviors have changed a lot in the last sort of 10, 15 years, even more so in the last few years because of obviously the health pandemic and stuff. But don't get me wrong, people, there's a lot of market information out there at the minute that says footfall in the high streets has actually spiked a little bit because people have missed the touch and the feel, the products that they want to buy. So there's still nothing wrong with advertising what it is that you do or cars that you do. So there's a rule of three that we use, and it's about informing your customers, educating your customers, and entertaining your customers. So if you can do all those three, you're a lot more likely to capture your customers or potential customers' attention and sell them a car when they're ready to buy one. Because social media isn't going to sell you a car today if you post an advert today. It's a much more of a long-term investment overall. In terms of informing, so you really need to sort of understand where your customers are. So if you sell primarily to customers within a 20 or 30 mile radius, there's absolutely nothing wrong with posting local news, things that are going to be beneficial or of an interest to people within that local area.
Mm-hmm.
Even silly things. If you're on your way to work in the morning at 6, 7, 8 o'clock, and you notice that one of the A roads is closed, and you're stuck in a traffic jam, post it on the social media when you get to work. It's useful information for people. Not only that, but you can also inform them about when you get new stock, new deliveries coming in. Take photos of the transports when it's dropping your stock off. And this will sound strange, but I've gone through thousands and thousands of car dealers' social media profiles in the last 12 months. And something that I've seen repeated over and over again is dealers doing just that, this just in, or, literally it's just being offloaded and they've uploaded a picture or even a video. And there'll be comments underneath saying, oh, is the Ford Focus still available? And the dealer will say, no, it's not. Someone saw a picture of it when I posted it, and they commented, gave me a call, and they bought it already.
It's scarcity selling, isn't it? It's look what's here, get it while you can. And that moment in time is sometimes the right moment.
Yeah, I mean, and it's fear of missing out as well, especially if it might be something a little bit niche as well, or you're expecting something to come in. So if you've got, I'm going to pick something at random here, like a Ford Focus RS 500 or a Golf R, or something that's just a little bit more special than the standard bread and butter stuff. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But it doesn't just come down to the sales side of things, though. With cars, you can still inform your customers about what goes on at the dealership. So if you've got a work anniversary coming up, if you've got a valeter or a mechanic or yourself or a new apprentice that comes on board, take pictures of them, as long as you get their permission, of course, and they're up for it, and post that. Make customers feel like they know you before they step foot on the forecourt.
I think what people find hard to kind of comprehend is how that is helping them sell cars. A lot of our car dealers we speak to, they're focused on selling cars, and they've only got 20 what might seem like random cars. So well, they're just going to go on Auto Trader and find the car. So why should people be doing this instead of, let's say, just increasing the marketing budget on spots on Auto Trader?
Well, all three things go hand in hand. All three rules. So informing, educating, and entertaining. If you can capture a customer's attention with information that's interesting rather than just an advert, then they're not going to skip it. They're a lot more likely when they are ready to buy a car, you're going to be at the front of their mind or even at the back of their mind over someone who just posts adverts of cars. So there is that aspect, and I can understand. Marketing budgets and time, especially, are in short supply. Especially these days, car dealers, van dealers, bike dealers, they're busy people. So it's more about making your marketing budget work smarter. You don't necessarily have to take it away from Auto Trader and put it somewhere else. And it's always a good idea to have a good understanding of what part of your marketing works for you, what works best and what doesn't, what performs the best, what performs the least. And it's not always about spending more money. As I said, a lot of it is just time. You can always, if you know what performs the least, you can then remove the money from that area, that budget, and put it into something else. So you're not actually spending any more money.
I say sometimes that it doesn't have to take much time. Sometimes the best content is when you've just picked up your phone and started recording something, like you might do if your kids are doing something funny, or you see a fight in the street, shit that people will just pick up the phone and film is what is great content, isn't it, online? And that can be the same around your dealership. It can be, look at this valeter, he's just made a mess of this, or whatever it might be. All that kind of stuff can be great content, and it doesn't have to take up any more time than what you were already doing.
Yeah. And the thing, you build it into stuff that you already do. If you're going to be on the forecourt and your new stock arrives, literally 5 seconds, take a photo, take a video and post it, or get someone else in the dealership to post it for you. Even when you're at handover as well, and you're handing the keys over, that's another thing that's been successful that I've seen for dealerships. Take a photo of the customer if they're okay with it, of handing over the keys, because it's a new car to them, and they're going to be excited about that and want to show off to the Joneses next door that they've got a new car. And I always call that digital word of mouth, because word of mouth advertising is always the best, whether it's a referral from a friend. You're going to trust a family member or a friend even more. So if you post that and tag, the customer on it, and they share it, you might have seen other, family members comment, "Oh, really nice car. Where did you get it from?" And all those sorts of things. So yeah, definitely do that, because, as I said, you're informing potential customers about your existing customers, and that helps build trust as well.
So obviously, Rich, you're a finance company. Is it important to be posting finance content, or is it other things around your marketing and stuff that drive that, and the actual content itself should stay away from finance, or where's that balance?
I think, to be fair, when it comes to finance, this is a question we get quite regularly. How can we sell more cars on finance, basically? And you've really got to, there's no catch-all answer. Of course, there's the FCA regulations that you need to be aware of and that you need to adhere to. You can go on Google and search for what is a financial promotion, and there are some FCA documentation on there that will tell you, because different adverts trigger different details that you need to include. So that will be things like APR, that will be things like your FCA number, your company's house number, etc. And when it comes to social media, it can be quite difficult, especially if you've only got so many characters to be able to advertise that you're doing finance. So the main point I would say is keep it simple and not too overcomplicated. But if you do make it complicated, make sure, or if you want to use certain terminology like bad credit or things like that, you will need to include a lot more information than if you just state finance is available.
Yeah, I've heard there are companies out there who actually look after compliance in the motor trade, you could contact to help you with that, but I don't know what they're called.
The name escapes me. I can't think of anyone that will do that.
So is it a good idea for your average dealer to be trying to get more finance? Will that incrementally sell more cars, or is it just going to, have more of the people who would have bought anyway on finance?
It will attract more customers, that's for definite, because if a customer isn't aware of a service that you offer and that's a service that they require, they're going to go somewhere else where it's a lot more apparent that service is available. So you need to tell people that you can do cars on finance. And I don't just mean for the subprime market, just in general. The amount of websites that I've seen with dealers that I know sell cars on finance, and there isn't a finance tab or an application form, or they don't mention it anywhere. And there's been many times when dealers have said to me, "Rich, how do I sell more cars on finance?" And I always say, "Well, what are you doing now, and why isn't it working? How many do you sell on finance now, and how many do you want to sell? What would success look like to you?" And that all comes down to looking at where you are now, what your current messaging is, where you're putting that messaging, and are you putting it in the place that attracts, the majority of your customers to buy a car from you in the first place? There are lots and lots of variables, to be fair. But yeah, look at what you're doing now and try and understand why it isn't working for you.
I think a lot of people don't realize, because I have this conversation all the time with dealers, is that if a customer doesn't see that you offer finance, they won't ring you and ask. So obviously we speak to a lot of people, when they want to get authorized for finance, and they'll say, "Oh, well, I'm getting a few people asking if I do finance." And what they don't always realize is they'd get a lot more if they spoke about it, because the people who want finance won't even contact them in the main, because they're worried about asking that question, or they'll go to the place that says they do finance. So, even just talking about it, even if you don't get into the technical detail, the other thing that I always say is on your finance tab, people often put a contact form and no one fills it in. If they're going to apply for finance, it's going to be through the car, isn't it? You know, or through a widget on the homepage, a calculator. They're not just going to fill in a contact form on the front and do that. You know, I always say on that finance tab, make sure that you actually tell them about what you do for finance, how you can help with finance, and make them the place that they want to turn up to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, that all comes back to looking at what you're currently doing. You know, if you are one of those dealers that does have even if you have an application page for finance on your website, how many inquiries do you get a month from it?
Yeah.
You know, that is all part of understanding where you are now, because you need to understand what currently works. Because if you make some changes or you start putting more of a finance message out there and it does or doesn't work, you're not necessarily going to understand what has worked best for you. So review where you are, make incremental changes, measure the changes on a weekly or on a monthly basis, and then make another change again. You know, keep what works and throw out what doesn't. Is the simplest way of putting it.
And I think that's a good summary. Rich, so if dealers are already signed up with First Response, can they contact you or a team in order to help with that and driving more sales and finance sales?
Yeah, absolutely. You can give us a call. You can message us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. We're more than happy to assist dealers in growing their business. And when you work with us, we can make each other's businesses a lot better and do more business. That's what we're here for. We're here to help dealers sell cars because that's ultimately what they want. And if they can help sell more cars, then hey, that's better for everybody.
Good. Well, thanks for joining us today, Rich, or me, as Steve's not here. And we'll be posting this out as usual over the next couple of days. If you don't already, guys, please like, subscribe, and share, and whatever that kind of thumbs up stuff is on YouTube. And it'll be available on the Motor Trade Talk Facebook group if you've not already joined, and all the usual streaming platforms. Thanks, Rich. It's been a good one.
No problem. Yeah, thank you very much for having me on.
No worries.